For a lot of companies, global trade compliance can feel like you're just constantly putting out fires, right? It's chaotic. But what if you could go from being the firefighter to being the architect who designs a fireproof building from the get-go? So let's dive into this huge strategic shift and see how you can actually turn compliance from this back office headache into a serious competitive advantage.
International Trade Officer Chad Bazale just nails it with this analogy. Trying to handle compliance at the very last minute, right when goods are supposed to ship, that's exactly like trying to cook a massive Thanksgiving dinner for 20 people when you only have an hour on the clock. It's stressful, you're bound to make mistakes, and the end result is probably not going to be what you were hoping for.
And that whole last-minute scramble? Well, that's the daily reality for so many compliance teams. This reactive mode is what we call the compliance firefight. It's this endless cycle of crisis management that leaves pretty much zero room for any real strategy or planning. And this reactive approach really gets to the core of the pain. It means you are constantly fixing things that have already gone wrong. Think about it. You're correcting misclassifications on an entire shipment, or maybe realizing a country of origin was missed when the product is already sitting on a boat. It is so inefficient, it's costly, and it keeps the compliance team completely stuck in the past.
So, how do you break the cycle? Well, the solution is a pretty fundamental change in how you think about the whole process. It's all about moving your focus from the end of the supply chain to the very beginning. And this is what we call shifting compliance left.
Let's get really clear on what this means. Shifting left is all about embedding compliance into the process from day one. And I'm not kidding. We're talking about the product design phase, those initial sourcing conversations, way before a purchase order is even thought. The key takeaway here is that this is all about prevention, not just correction.
And this table really shows the transformation in a nutshell. You go from being a firefighter to being a fire marshal. Instead of just fixing errors after the fact, you're literally designing risk out of the product from the start. What used to be a back office function that just pushed paper, it becomes a strategic partner that gives your company a real, tangible advantage. Global Trade Compliance Manager Kyle Grobler frames the central question just perfectly. It's not about getting better at fighting fires. It's about figuring out how to stop them from ever starting in the first place. That is the whole goal of shifting left. Okay, so this sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually make it happen in a real organization? Let's get practical and look at how you can build this into a real strategy. The experts we've seen point to 3 core pillars. So first up, communication. You got to get out of your silo. Instead of just sending another email, go meet with product developers and buyers face-to-face. Hold office hours. Second, education. You have to explain why you need certain info. Don't just ask what a shirt is made of. Explain how different materials can totally change the duty rate. And third, be proactive. Get yourself into conversations about products that are 2 or 3 years out, not just the one shipping tomorrow. But, and this is a big but, getting this proactive approach right really hinges on overcoming one huge hurdle: the fact that compliance pros and, let's say, the sales team often speak completely different languages. So how on earth do you bridge that gap? This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You can't just walk into a meeting with a procurement team and start dropping complex jargon like HTS codes, the codes used to classify products for customs, or talking about reciprocal tariffs. You will lose them in like 10 seconds flat. The solution is basically to become a translator. You have to know your audience and tailor your message specifically to them. And that means using simple, relatable language and focusing only on the details that actually matter for the decision they need to make. And Chad Bazale gives us the perfect example of this kind of translation. He says, look, instead of getting bogged down in material content percentages, you should frame it like a recipe, right? Everyone understands what goes into a cheeseburger. Find that simple, tangible analogy for your product, and you'll get your point across instantly. Because at the end of the day, your colleagues in purchasing, they just need to make a decision. Is sourcing from country A better than country B? It's a yes or no question. Your job is to simplify all that complex compliance reality into the absolute essential information they need to make that call. Okay, so this brings up a really valid concern. If you're simplifying everything and handing tools over to other departments, are you just asking for trouble? Do you really want buyers who aren't experts making the final calls on complex classifications? Well, the answer, according to the experts, is a bit more nuanced. Let's be clear. The final call always rests with a compliance team. The goal isn't to outsource your job. It's to start a conversation and get visibility into what's happening. Because as Chad Bossel puts it, The conversation is going to happen with or without you. You can either be a part of it and help guide it, or you can be left out of it completely.
So why is this shift so critical, especially right now? It's because the stakes have never been higher. The entire landscape of global trade has changed, and it's elevated these conversations to the highest levels of the company.
Think about it. A few years ago, figuring out the final landed cost of a product might have just been a routine task for the accounting department. But today, with tariffs changing all the time, that single number can make or break a product line's profitability. This has absolutely become a C-suite level conversation. And guess who's suddenly at the center of it? The compliance team. You know, it can be really hard to measure the ROI of good compliance, but this analogy just nails it. Does stopping at a stop sign get you to your destination any faster? Nope. But what it does do is prevent a catastrophic failure. Proactive compliance is your stop sign. It's that disciplined practice that keeps your company from getting into a wreck. And this, right here, is the ultimate payoff. When you truly master proactive compliance, you're not just avoiding fines anymore. You are building a real, tangible competitive advantage. You can get products to market faster because there are no customs delays. You can improve profit margins by making smarter sourcing decisions from the very start. You literally turn what was once seen as just a cost center into a powerful engine for growth. So I'll leave you with this final question to think about for your own organization. Is your compliance team functioning as an architect, helping design a resilient and efficient supply chain? Or are they still just expert firefighters, basically just getting better and better at fighting them while they wait for the next alarm to sound? The answer to that question could really define your company's success in the years ahead.